All right. Welcome back, my many, many listeners. I know there's only three, but welcome back. This is the Connecting One Meal at a Time podcast. I'm Kate Bean, and I'm happy to be here after quite a hiatus. I think haven't podcast for about 4 weeks. So just a disclaimer right up front, there's going to be a lot of stories about meals of connection, um, shorter than most stories I tell about a meal because there's just so many to talk about. But it feels good to just again take this time on a Sunday morning on March 15th, 2026, and just look back on my last 4 weeks. It's been quite a whirlwind, and I think this is the best part of this podcast. And I was laughing today in the shower. I was just thinking, like, I'm the host because I was thinking how to start. I'm like, I'm Kate Bean, the host of Connecting One Meal at a Time podcast. But I'm also the guest and I'm the producer and the director. And because, it's really live. So there's really nothing to produce or direct. And I'm a guest because I'm just telling stories. So pretty easy gig overall. I mean, if you're putting it, lining up and how hard, work could be, this one's pretty easy. I'm just talking, which, is easy to do. So, um, why have I been gone for 4 weeks? I spent 3 weeks in California, going back to support my schools, Avison Charter Schools, as I've stepped back in as interim executive director. So going back and just having a really lovely time being in my schools and with all the people that I just care about so much, and hanging out with the kids and doing car line in the morning, which was a huge highlight of being at the school, and talking to parents and staff. And it was fantastic. So lots of connections, um, even outside of meals, but meals, so many connections from taking, each of the school directors out for dinner and just having time to just connect and talk and bond separately from all things Avison and all things, so many things on our plate. So that was just nice. And you just see people in a different way when you're just having a meal. And, you can take time to look at the plate and to, talk about the food. And, it's not like a meeting where you have to, sit across the desk or a table and, make eye contact constantly. And a meal is just it just provides that kind of um, multi-sensory experience. So it's just not so intense. So it's just nice to get to know people on a personal level over a meal, even if you are work colleagues. And so that was really, really nice. And I think, also, I mean, all the meals with family, my daughter Addison, I got to have 2 meals with her, which, she's busy. I was busy. I had so many events at night. It was nice to find 2 different Fridays that we could have a meal. The first one was so nice. We just was so close to our house in Highland Park, and just the food was lovely. But there was a cool, like, you just get catch up on stories and say, "Do you want to share meals?" Which is my favorite thing to do in the whole world. And she's like, "Sure, let's share an appetizer," which is amazing deviled eggs, that had some yuzu, I think. Yuzu. Okay, whatever that is. Lemony, Japanese lemony flavor. And they were amazing. And then we shared a branzino and a this amazing pasta made out of beets, like a bucatini, but with not made out of beets, but with a beet sauce. So, but ironically, it was kind of cold, and we went ahead and ate it. And then I just actually asked Addie, like, "Do you mind if I just ask him?" Because I didn't want to embarrass her, but she's a grown ass woman now. She's like, "I won't be embarrassed." So I was like, "Is this supposed to be like room temperature?" And he's like, "Oh no, that's not right. And thanks for telling us. And I'll talk to the chef." And so, we weren't complaining. We were just literally like wondering if it was supposed to be served that way. And then, of course, they comped this amazing dessert to which, was not our intent at all, but it was very kind of them to do. So that was a lovely meal. And then the next Friday, Meredith and I and Daddy and Dimitri all got to hang out and have a drink in Highland Park and then go to one of our favorite places for, seafood, um, and, I mean, seafood burritos and, uh, yeah, it was just so good, and then went for ice cream at Foster Freeze. I mean, that's a Friday night, it's amazing. It just made me think as I was looking around the table, my daughter and her boyfriend and my ex-wife, I it's just a weird term to even use. It just was family. It's just family. Um, and just love family, and family's always family, no matter what the marital status is or the geographic locations of people. I noticed how the ease of it, the ease of the history and the story and um, yeah, no, the trusting, there's no motives or anything. It was just so lovely. So that was really great and appreciated that. Also had these amazing sandwiches one day. We did a service project, Meredith and I. We had these amazing sandwiches at a place that Avery recommended, even though she couldn't be there. She was there in spirit. So, and we brought sandwiches to Sid as she was cleaning out her mom's house, and got to have lunch with her and Joaquin and Jordan. And it's just so again, moments like, to go there and say, "Hey, we're gonna get sandwiches. Can we bring you some?" And they're like, "Sure." So it was impromptu. So there's something about a meal that's the idea of, yeah, impromptu, like, let's just have a meal. We didn't plan it. I didn't weeks ahead of time. I didn't say, "Hey, we'll be there at this time on Saturday." It just was like we just showed up, which is also such a cool thing. That if you just show up, it's like 90 I've heard someone say 90% of life is just showing up. Maybe the other 10% is with food, um, because then you got, like, almost 100% guarantee they're gonna have some form of connection. So that was amazing. The sandwiches were as wonderful and scrumptious as I remembered. We also stopped by this place called Galco's where they just have every possible type of beverage in the world. I know that sounds crazy. Okay, maybe not in the world, but old-timey sodas, like grape knee-high, which is what I had, and, it's just the coolest place, Galco's in Highland Park. So family meals, wonderful family meals all the way around, and then great friend meals. I mean, when I landed, Tom Hyatt is such a dear, dear friend, helped me write the first book, and we wrote a, workbook together on change, and, just knowing him for so, so long. And when I landed, it took a while to get my rental car, and took me an hour to drive from LAX up to the Pasadena area. And he just had this amazing dinner ready for me. So there you go. He just, we talked about going out. He said, "Where would you want to go?" But he's also like, "Why don't you just come here? I'll make food." And so it was couldn't be more perfect. I was pretty tired by that time. East Coast time, it was pretty late. And it was just so nice to hang out in his kitchen, and he cooked and we talked and had a meal, and it reminded me of old friendships, and that happened a few more times with old friends that I met up with, a great meal at a school with 2 colleagues that used to be at Avison who aren't anymore, but they're at a different school now, but we just met for lunch, and, um, it's just, little things, like at that lunch, Sid at this other school, and she brought cloth napkins and, this great, like, sparkling grape juice and lovely glasses, like, just the care, and she's in the middle of her workday, like, who does that? And she brought some chips to go with our sandwiches that were actually made the sandwiches were made by the students at the school, so I got to tour the school a bit with Casey, and I got to see the kids making the food, so they run this whole little bistro or cafe. It's so great. And so and then we're eating these sandwiches that the kids made. Sid brought all these lovely little add-ons that just made it we had 30 minutes is all, because they both only had a 30-minute break. But the 30 minutes was full, like full of stories and, um, catching up and just and nice good food and just yeah. I mean, I was teasing Sid about her Mary Poppins bag and just she's bringing out all this stuff, and I mean, how cool is that? It's just cool, and So that's how things can turn. Like if someone also just shows up, but shows up with just a little extra. So that was cool. Speaking of extra, I had this incredible dinner, which I probably should use a picture for this podcast of this dinner. My friend Alex, his wife Claudia, went out to visit him, and she wasn't feeling very well, unfortunately. So I didn't get much time with her. But he and I, he made he made this amazing meal where he cooked this tri-tip. I think it was a tri-tip in he's with a sous vide, like cooked it sous vide, which is this amazing, like in a bag in this slow water, hot water, and cooks it for I don't know how many hours or whatever. And then he pulls it out, and we take it outside, and he gets a blowtorch out, and he blowtorches this at this perfect crust on the tri-tip. And like I'm just watching this, like, you are extra, my friend, which is so lovely that he is. His talk about being taken care of, like to watch him do it with the care and the love, like how he just torched this thing, or the roasted potatoes that he had in the outside oven, and so we'd go back and forth. And he made Brussels sprouts with some Thai chili peppers, and um, gosh, what was the other? Oh, he started with this salad, which like cara oranges with roasted, which I didn't know you could do this, roasted avocado and some fennel and this light like dressing. Come on. Like, yeah. So that was just amazing. And then dinner was incredible. And wines, of course, all the perfect wine pairings, from starting with an orange wine to I think we had a red with dinner, and maybe had some orange wine again later. But it was just incredible, and to talk and to share and to just hang out in the kitchen, at the bar, watching him cook. And I know at this point I've known him long enough not to, like, it's no even pretense of like, should I help you or should I not help you, or oh, let me help you. Like, he just does it, and he has such love for people through his cooking that you wouldn't want it. It'd be like interrupting an artist who's painting a painting for you. It could be like, "Can I help you with that?" You'd be like, "No, you're not the artist." And, it'd be almost offensive. That's how it feels with Alex, because he's an artist, and it was incredible and just great. And we went on this long walk after and talked, and I think we walked for like 3 miles or something. It was great. So all the things, lovely things in California, and a couple other meals with, old friends I hadn't seen for a long time, and, just as simple as In-N-Out Burger to catching another meal with a friend in between her shows. She was doing a matinee and then an evening show, and I got to see the matinee, which was fantastic, and then grab a meal in between before I headed out to head down to another friend's house in Dana Point. So there's all that. Then I go on to Palm Springs, and don't even get me started on the amazing meals we had there with my 4 friends from my ALI program. And so, like, from meals out, and the generosity too. It's always a thing where it's like, okay, who's going to take what meal? And we're already being hosted, right, by 2 of the friends who one has a house permanently there, and one was doing an Airbnb. And it's so, of course, they're hosting plenty of meals at their houses. So seems like, the other 3 of us should do everything out. But of course, that never works because again, the generosity, people pick up tabs so quickly. So I quickly claimed a lunch, which was, a poolside lunch, which was great after we did this cool tour, this home tour in Palm Springs with all the stars and everything. But, it occurred to me, I think just, I think they always say, well, you can pick up a lunch, Kate, because, they clearly know from a socioeconomic status, I'm different place, which never ever is a problem. A, because of generosity. B, they just are just not like that. And So, yeah, it was nice to actually, like, pick up a meal, um, and yeah, to feel like I was contributing a little bit to this entire meal experience over 5 days. Uh, I mean, we went to, like, watch the Indian Wells tennis match, and Katie and Carmel took us to Nobu, which, I mentioned that to Avery later. She's like, "Nobu? You went to Nobu? Like, what?" Like, what an amazing, like, sushi experience, and, this black cod that they marinate for 72 hours. It was just incredible, and another great sushi experience, um, that Di picked up, and then she did the first Mediterranean night, and it's just Connie hosted us for a fantastic meal with steak, and I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. So, clearly, I found the right path for me. Clearly, this is what I love. I love watching people love other people with food. I love loving people with food. I love loving myself with food. I made this wonderful meal the other night, with some chicken teriyaki pineapple meatballs and Brussels sprouts and a caprese, like, bread with burrata that Avery had brought home, and so I connected to myself, which was, nice, um, after so much togetherness, and then I just had a great meal last night. Avery and I, for months since she's moved in, I've said, "We gotta go to the shrimp boil, we gotta go to the shrimp boil." There's this cool deal when you're a student, you have a student ID, which we both do, ironically, and it's like a half pound of boiled shrimp in a bag with french fries and a drink, $11, please, and thank you. So we get that, and it's just great, right? You put on your bib and your gloves, and it's such a food experience, and it slows you down because you have to peel every shrimp, and the shrimp had the head on, so you had to you pop the head off, which, I don't know, Avery, I was like, "Do you want me to do yours for you?" I was being such a mom. I found myself at one point cleaning up her shells, and which I'm like, "What am I doing?" Just noticing and naming my own, like, control mom stuff. And I thought I was just kind of being kind, but in a way, it's kind of just a mom thing. And, but I named it immediately and owned it, and I was like, "I'm so sorry I did that." And so but it's cool because when you're doing this peel and eat shrimp experience, right, you have this paper on the table, so it doesn't matter how messy it gets, and so it's messy and but it's slow because you have to peel the shrimp, and you have to focus on it, but you can still talk, and, at some point, she popped off a head, and she turned a little head towards me, so its little eyes were looking at me, which, did freak me out a bit. No, it didn't, actually, and I actually told her, "I'm fine." Um, like, I get it. Like, we all eat animal products. We don't all. I do. And I think you have to, like, let's honor them. They gave their lives for, our enjoyment and our nourishment and our protein to nourish our bodies. So, why shouldn't you put it on the table and actually say thank you to the shrimp? And, um 'cause I think that's important. If you're willing to eat it, you should be willing to acknowledge where it came from and to honor that. So, it was kind of funny. So I put one facing her, and, it was just, it was a lovely, lovely meal. She got a hotter sauce than I did, so she was drinking a lot of bevs, but overall, it was just so fun, and I can't believe the price, and I said, "We're coming back here." Or I said, "I am gonna make a goal to come back here at least 2 more times before I leave Harvard area, Harvard Square, and for good to the farm," and she's like, "Well, I'm gonna come with you then." So, just fun. And we talked about our time in Louisiana when we were on our road trip, and we also had, like, the whole seafood boil in a bag thing. So, again, that's what food does. It makes you connect to past, it makes you connect to each other, connect to yourself. And then at one point, she didn't get her fries. Like, I got my fries, she didn't get her fries, and kinda went on, for a while. And this gentleman walked by that worked there, and I could see he made eye contact with me, and I was thinking I won't say anything, but then he kinda looked at me like, "How are you?" And I said, "Oh, we just haven't gotten our fries." His look on his face was so, like, devastated and sad, and he looked at her, and then I looked at Avery, and she made a sad face because he's making a sad he's like, "I'm so sorry." Like, I think he's the owner, probably, but it was so dramatic, but funny, but also, like, sweet, and the connection was just it was just sweet. He's like, "I'm so sorry. We're gonna get on that, and I'm gonna gosh, you need your fries so you have the whole experience. You got, like, the student combo, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." Um, so and then he came back by again, and they weren't there still, and then he was like, again, like, "Oh, no." Like that, "Oh, no. This is terrible." It was so kinda over the top service. I mean, Avery might she maybe was a little embarrassed, but then we were just kinda all laughing. But it was cool, like, that form of acknowledgement and, it kinda didn't really matter to us, although they were really good. Like, they were fries with lemon pepper, never had that before. So, I mean, yeah. So, anyway, another time of connection. Um, wow, I've shared so many stories on this episode, and there are actually so many more I could. It's amazing, but we're gonna call it there, and, that's kind of all I got. So there you have it, and, if anyone's listening, because I'm also the one listener, so I'm the host, like, the host, the guest, and the listener, but, if anyone is listening to this, just, yeah, maybe look for that connection and pick one, next time you have a meal by yourself, next time you have a meal with family or friends, next time you have a meal out, you can connect with the server or the owner or the manager, like, maybe taking time, because it was nice to tell this, guy, like, "That's really kind of you to be so service oriented, make us feel so good." And so that's the challenge today on March 15th, 2026. Um, that's what I got. I mean, it's been fun. I've been working on the book, Connecting One Meal at a Time, and I think it's this simple. And every time I start to overcomplicate it, I realize. And we're playing with this acronym around the word plates, PLATES. I'm not going to share it right now because this podcast has gotten a little long, but it's just this, how like how to slow down during the meal and think about kind of the steps to noticing the meal and all the sensations of that meal, the taste, the smell, the sound, the feel, the look, and then once you've noticed the meal, noticing the moment, the extraordinary, ordinary moments, naming those within the meal, and then noticing the connection and embracing that. So that's it for now. And I feel like there's something I say all the time when I sign off, but I don't know what that is right now. So I'm going to say, um, thanks for tuning in to Connecting One Meal at a Time podcast. And look for, I guess, our Instagram post and our Facebook post and our LinkedIn post, just for ideas as reminders to slow down and find a way to use, to connect one meal, one moment, one connection at a time. So, bye for now.